Welcome to the Tourism Hub podcast, a podcast devoted to you and your excellence, providing inspiration and education for the entrepreneurs, experience makers, and excellence seekers of our industry to take your tourism business and career to a whole new level. And I am your host, Despina Carazius.
Relax.
Hello. Hi. Welcome to the Tourism Hub podcast. Yes, I am Despina Carazius. It's been a while. It's been almost, we're going into 2024, and our last episode was with the extraordinary guest, Lauren Barth. But here we are. There's been a long break, and much to my surprise and delight, when I came to the crossroad, is this something I will continue to pursue as my passionate project of love that keeps me connected to the goodness and the gracious fortitude of speaking to some wonderful humans in our industry. And when I saw that there's been quite a few people that have listened to the podcast, and sharing those stories gives me the enthusiasm to keep going. Even recording this now, it's been a process to pump myself up, to show up for you, my good people listening and watching this episode. It's certainly everything great comes with trepidation and procrastination. And I'm finding that every year since that episode in 2020, yes, the trajectory of my incredible journey, it has always been something I must get back into the podcast. I must get back to the podcast because I love it. It's easy to have a passion project when it's something that you enjoy. However, it's not something that anybody is expecting. It's not a deliverable from a client or a loved one. And it has been a lesson in keeping the promise to myself that if you're about to say you've come to a crossroad, are you going to keep this? Are you going to move on? And it was, well, the last thing you're going to do is not deliver on the promise you have made to yourself and your business, Despina Carazius. So here we are. This is a promise that I've made to myself, that for me to continue to give and serve this incredible industry, just the humans you come across in the tourism and the events and the hospitality industry. I've already got conversations in the can, and I cannot wait to bring them to you. It does. I've been part of the organization, the main sponsor of this podcast, my incredible little business, Institute of Excellence. As part of that and meeting these incredible people, it's just, I guess it's what keeps me going. I say, I walk around having these conversations that light me up, and that's what it's about. The whole premise of Institute of Excellence is to ignite excellence, ignite that spark, fan that flame. And that's what I've found. I have conversations and I just say, I wish I was recording this. So many people would be inspired by what you've done. Look what you've done. And that's what it's been a very long time. The small businesses, the experiences, the people that go out of the way to make something great for our visitor economy will keep me going. I promise I won't let it go for another 3-4 years. That is facts, like my teenagers say. But look, it has been a journey. That's not to say that there hasn't been quite an adventure, a different type of an adventure to a ballooning adventure, a very grounded adventure of navigating the incredible industry that we call tourism, that we call the visitor economy, that we call the experience economy. It has been really such, it's been a life changing, career changing few years, elevating standards, elevating the way, for me personally, the way I show up in the world to serve, and certainly understanding the industry's multi layered facets, from understanding, and now I say this really like understanding the political landscape. I won't say understanding, but having more exposure to that. Something as a small business I never did at the level that I have in the last few years. I'm working with many different organizations, and certainly understanding the complexities around change and transformation for us to be better, to do better, and to thrive better when we look at our visitor experiences and how what we put out in the world and how we protect our world around that. Now that has always been, now I'm always an operator mindset at heart. I'm always a business mindset at heart. Certainly through this journey, and even for example, in the last couple of years, I've attended 2 Indigenous tourism conferences. And to tell you the pivotal changing moments, and I guess a turning point in my own career, in my comprehension and understanding of cultural awareness and our cultural experiences that we still have to navigate and create, curate respectfully and mindfully. It has been, there's just, I guess, there's so much to share. There's so many people to bring on this journey and share with you. But it's all about, there's all good, and there's all learnings. And there definitely has been much to embrace through this growth, personally, professionally, and in business. And of course, and speaking of business, my business has had a disruption, as all businesses have. It has been, though, in the 10th year, coming up to 10 years since I said, this is what my next path is going to be. I want to serve, I want to teach I want to contribute to our industry's growth and our industry's development. And that's where Institute of Excellence was born. And that's how this podcast was born. So that's something I've really learned to embrace, growth through adversity. And I heard on another podcast recently that, through any hurricane, the strongest part is the center. And through embracing challenging times, it's also been very centering and given some clarity as well. So that's where we're at. I guess, navigating the art of balance, the art of sticking to things like this. You have no idea. No, you have no idea. But I'm going to give you an idea. I'm just going to put it out there. Just to get to this moment, I wanted to do this at the end of December, and now we are coming probably 8 weeks into the new year in 2024. The level of excuse and story and procrastination that I put myself through, stopping to get myself to this moment, just do the thing. The overthinking, the doubts, the rubbish talk in my head to put hurdles in front of myself. Imaginary, invisible hurdles. But anyhow, it's just extraordinary to have an awareness of what I was doing to myself when I said this is important, but also this inner fear crept up again that I already had when I first started this podcast, but it all came back up again. And that's what disruption and stopping your momentum can do. And, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's what I keep saying to myself. And that's been the whole premise of going into a new year. And it reminded me yesterday. So I was delivering a training to small businesses yesterday, and it was all centered around social media and content, because we can't have one without the other. We can't do social media if we don't have rich, valuable, engaging, entertaining content to put out there in business. Of course, if we want our visitors, our customers to get to know us, like us, trust us, buy from us, continue to come on the journey with us, we've got to produce content. And I talked about, yes, strategy, yes, planning, but also building confidence through consistency. And sometimes it's personal habits that need to be flipped around. And I share that with you because that's the journey I've been on just to get to this point of turning things on and working it out. Because every little thing, my background, like I need to build my studio. It's built. Oh, but the sound's not proper. Maybe I need a new microphone because this one's like 6 years old. It works fine. I don't have a professional camera. You don't need it. This is okay. Do it on your phone, Despina, if you need to. You've said you're going to do this. Before you know it, it's going to click over to 2025. So that's what I'm saying. The level of excuses. So now it's like, okay, don't worry about the background. You've got a solution. Just cover the background. Rain, hail, and we've definitely had our fair share of that here in Melbourne town, where I'm based and where I'm recording this at the moment. It doesn't matter. Just get on with it. So here I am. Sorry about that little rant, but it's just, if anybody is feeling this, and I hope it serves you, I tap into marketing guru, and I go back to one of his wonderful books where he says, just ship the work, because that's where I found my spirit and my flame being off. It wasn't even ignited. It was off for a little while. And, going into that, and I can talk about funky times again from my own personal experience, when that light was off, and even the motivation, like motivated or not, it was not there. I found it was because I wasn't fulfilling a value of my own, of being creative and doing creative work. And I've definitely found, and that's why my big why of why I love what I do, because it gives me a creative outlet. Working out how to cut together good video content, how to cut together, whether it's an online course or a reel or a podcast, even just putting all this together gives me a sense of completion, and also a sense of it just fulfills that creativity in me, in my business. And that's why I embraced social media. It was the content I embraced from the creative point of view. So as the new term, the new lingo of being a creator, I love it. And it's like I really resonated with that too. And that's where, leveraging all of the opportunities that we have available to us, and also the very beginning of, even back in my global ballooning days, why I love all these different mediums, and why I share with every small business, every professional that wants to elevate their careers. There's nothing to stop you but yourself and your mindset to stand up and choose yourself. And that's what I had to pump myself up when there's no one waiting on this. That's where it's different. There's no one saying you've got to do this by this time and there's a monetary exchange or there's a commercial arrangement. Nothing. So when that's not there, how do you choose yourself and not wait to be chosen by someone to be interviewed or to write that, be asked to write that blog or put that post out about what, this amazing project that you're working on? If you think that way, if you're stopping yourself from doing that, I can't stress enough how important it is with all of the mediums and modalities that we have available to us to choose yourself and ship the work, as our dear marketing guru, brother, elder Seth Godin advises us. Ship the work. Okay. So, in the spirit of choose yourself, I don't get many phone calls in a day saying, would you like to be a guest on my podcast? And I thought, you know what? I put my guests through a flow. And I thought, well, if I come back and do a solo podcast, and I want to do a podcast, even if I don't have a guest to interview, this is a muscle I want to build. I want to be able to come and show up and share something that is going to, well, my intention is in hope that it's going to move you to act towards something that's going to not only just inspire you or motivate you, but motivate you to do something. That's certainly the way that I just operate in the world. Now, for me, I was just like, well, what am I going to talk about? And I tried, like in these 8 weeks, I'd get on, I'll test it. If you see how many tests I have in the can, I should do a count it and put it in the show notes. How professional is that? I will put that in. Just FYI, it's taken me, there's probably, maybe there's 3 digits in there. Anyhow, choose yourself. So what I haven't done up until this point, so I share with all of my guests, this is a flow of how the type of questions you can expect. But if curiosity just kills Despina and I'm dying to delve deeper into something, we'll go off this. But this is there just to keep us on track for our hour of power together to drive your story and inspire anybody that's watching or listening to us. So in doing as, do as I do, not just do as I say, I thought, wow, I was just saying to everyone yesterday, choose yourself. I had someone in there that is a professional career counselor saying, I don't do video. I don't do. So it's like, well, we've got to do something. We've got to find the courage and build the muscle to put you in front of people because number one, you're so engaging to listen to. It's a disservice. It's a disservice to keep you hidden just for opportunities like this. So when I'm thinking about, okay, today is the day. I cannot let another day pass until this happens. So in my own choose yourself moment, because this is my quotable where I finish a lot of talks and a lot of workshops that's centered around content and being brave and building confidence is, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? Because I had the same feeling, I remember, when I did that first video in my business when I'm all alone and I'm just like, who is going to show up to this live? Who is it? Anyway, enough about that. You get what I mean. So in choosing myself, I thought I'll go through the flow with you because if we haven't had the good fortune of meeting and you're like, who is Despina anyway? And where does that name come from? That's a, that's a funky name. I've never heard of a Despina before. I thought this could be a little get to know each other session and I'll follow the flow of what I ask my beautiful guests. So to start with a little bit about me, my first, my inclination from a career path, I always loved working in retail. I really loved serving people and making people feel good. Whether it was my first job at McDonald's or my consequent and consecutive, literally for 5 years as a 14-year-old, I worked at both McDonald's and Target. And then I went on to other fashion retailers, a lot of hospitality, even worked as a bell attendant at Crown Towers. Best job ever. Who, maybe if I was still there now, would have had my own brush with fame. Taylor Swift just came and took over the world at the moment. But something that it was always very much embedded in me was service. Okay. Now, from that servitude, what I really wanted to do when I finished high school was, drum roll, to be a social worker. Through high school, I just happened to somehow be the go-to person with good listening ears to help everybody with their boyfriends, with their girlfriends, with their friend circles. So I was just had a lot of friends, and I was constant feedback that you always make us feel better after we've had a chat. So when we went through that career counseling bit, I landed on a social worker. Now, I went into social work, but within the first 6 months, I realized as a then 17, going on to 18-year-old, my life experience was so limited to serve the situations that were presenting themselves when I did some volunteer work at our community centre. Enter stage left when I thought about, well, what else is there? What else is it that I love? I needed to love it. Now, I had to kill my whole dream of, being a theatre musical actress, triple threat. That was something that I need to lay to rest and have a minute silence. But I thought, what else ignites me in the same way as the theatre did through high school? And then it came my crush on the world. I just wanted to get out of here and experience as much as I can. And that's where entered tourism. And I studied tourism at Holmes-Glen. Then I went on from my Holmes-Glen diploma and I went on to William Angeles and completed my advanced diploma in tourism. In the meantime, had the most incredible trip around Europe and the United States, and it was hook, line, and sinker. This is my jam. This is where I'm going to land. And from there, went on to do my bachelor's in tourism management, and off I went. Landed for a regional airline as my first full time. I'm an adult now job. The best. Shout out Denise and John Simos, just working with a husband, wife, entrepreneurial team at the very beginning of my career. I say it's just like Aretha Franklin, RESPECT. Just working, spending that time with them for those 3-4 years was just invaluable to ignite something else in me. It was tourism, but then what ignited in me was business. How do we do good business? How do we translate a good idea or a new marketplace? And through that journey, then my next landing, a soft landing, or sometimes hard, enter stage right, global ballooning. And that is, I will do another episode on that. So that's where Adventures of a Balloon Girl came. It's been a 2-decade journey with ballooning, and that's where there's just such a beautiful, if anyone's ever interested, there is a whole book about that journey that I wrote in honor of the first decade of joining, growing, loving everything about a hot air balloon experience for any visitor, and also just this eclectic group of people that were brought together for that period of time to do some extraordinary things around the world. So all of my then experience from growing an operation and being hands-on to developing new experiences to running around the world with Team Australia, Tourism Victoria at the time, now Visit Victoria, to wave the flag of what makes this state, not just this state, this country, this state, the regions we operated in, so great and invaluable for someone to visit. I could slide into that in a heartbeat. I just loved it. And that's where enter after that, it was, as a small business and as an operator myself, it was difficult to find learning that spoke to me, as a tour operator that had slightly different challenges. And when I did my first speaking engagement, mind you, I was almost nauseated by it. I was so nervous. But when it came to the second and the third and sharing information, that's where I guess the idea of putting it all in a book and what has been the next decade after that with Institute of Excellence, who also house Institute of Tourism and Institute of Small Business. My other great love now, just developing experiences, but a little bit different now, that are more geared towards learning and shared experiences. Again, how we can be and do better today than we did yesterday. It is a constant learning, and we are definitely all students for life. So that's a little bit about how I became to be in this wonderful world of tourism and how it keeps me waking up every day lit. Sometimes there's been ebbs and flows, it hasn't. I'm not here to say it's been happy, joy, and sunshine and roses. But even in darkness, they were the greatest. They've been the greatest opportunities and growth, not only in whatever it was that we were trying to achieve, but also in with the people and the relationships that when we've had to endure tough times, how we've been able to come out of that literally so stronger and tight, that I really respect. And I also love. I just love the peeps in this industry. We're just good stock. So that's how and why I am a very proud human of tourism, delivering to you this very tourism hub, bringing together other humans of tourism. So that's, and also just stepping into tourism and leading me to the path of education in tourism, in small business. That's been the evolution, I guess, of this path. And igniting me to start my Institute of Excellence. And why I did that is, one, because it's like I need the school. It's like I started the school I wanted at the time when I was at grassroots. There was now the education and the training is on another level. But I'm talking even from just social media, we came with, like, Yellow Pages was my jam at the start. So someone that's really traversed the land of coming out of traditional marketing to embracing what social media can do for a business, that's what really, in terms of what ignited me to start my education business, is that even when there was no training at the time, because we didn't know what this social media is going to do, if it's going to last, if it's going to, how can we. But at the time, I also found when the training did come, it wasn't speaking my language, my tourism, my visitor servicing language. So creating bespoke learning and training experience in all facets, from how to leverage digital to social to partnering and packaging, international landscape. How do we export the intangible, beautiful product, the feelings that we deliver to a visitor? It's sometimes sleep and eating gets in my way because there's just so much I want to develop. And that's when, I know in a way that is exciting me more than I would say ever. I just feel the light is on bright, and it's something that I'm really excited about in bringing some of the people that I've been speaking to also to you. But it's exciting times, and we'll save the AI chat for another apps. Another thing, teenage. I've got teenagers in the house, and sometimes I just become one. So that's what excited me, and how it changes people. I literally, I get out of bed to ignite excellence in others so then they can do the same for others around them, just passing the baton on. That's what I exist to do in my business, in this podcast, in my interactions. Now, the challenging times. So a moment in time of what I'd consider the worst moment in my business and career. Now, I share this openly. My most challenging times have always been centered around some level of conflict. Conflict in values and conflict in misalignment of a value system. As I mature, and literally I'm a mature age student at the moment, I've gone back to uni, and another one, I should be writing this down, another one for the apps. So another experience there altogether. But I think as you grow and as you develop, there is something grounds you in a value systems you've always had, but you may have never had a confrontation that would really that would amplify just how important that is to you. So you've always known it's important, but it's not until you find a situation that you say, oh, that felt weird. Yeah, there's something that just feels off about that. I've learned that the challenging time has always come back down to that, just a very strong embedded value system, and navigating through that. In the beginning, a big moment in my business and career was coming across situations, and that pivotal moment that I realized the only controllable here is you, Despina / Despina. The only controllable is you. So you're trying to manage these situations and these people and these environments with the same head that you always have, but you still keep freaking bumping into a wall and hurting yourself and hurting others around you. And that was a big turning point. I think that was my big point, that I missed the iceberg, that I saw ahead of me in time, that if I don't turn and if I don't change now, you're going to hit the iceberg and you're going to sink, girlfriend. And that was holding a mirror up against myself and saying, you need some more tools and strategies, and you need to educate yourself, because you're thrust into an environment where you are responsible for people, and these conflicts that are coming up, you got nothing else. You got nothing else to flick the switch or make this a win-win or a positive. So anyhow, those challenging times, and that, the worst moment was the greatest moment, that I told myself, it's you. What are you going to do about it? So I took myself and I did, that was my first real investment in my own learning, to do a diploma of life coaching and neuro-linguistic programming and all that good stuff around emotional intelligence, that it served and it helped. And I guess that was that pivotal moment of crossroad of, now how can I share and impart this on others? And where Institute of Excellence really came off the back of that. So this is actually a bit weird now that I'm just talking to myself. If you're hanging in there, heart, I'm doing the heart for anyone that's listening. Thank you. Please let me know if you've listened. I'm just thinking, I'm just going on a tangent, but it's actually a bit weird. You're just talking to yourself. But I'll keep going. for you. But if there's anything you're curious about that you say, if you've got a question for me, just hit me up on anything. Yeah, but hit me up. Let me know. Or email me. Hello at instituteofexcellence.com. So that was the most challenging time that, speaking of Taylor Swift, the problem, I think she's got the song. That was it. So I invested in myself, I invested in my time, I did all of that good work, and it was life-changing. It was actually life-changing, not just for work, but for everything. The oppa moment that I've had and turned out to be one of the best things, a turning point in my journey that was very successful. What would that be? The oppa moment. I think something that, well, there's a continuum of things that you can look back on your career, right? That you can say that was amazing, but they're all just like, they're fleeting moments, and that's like, yes, here we are back again. You do, and you have an achievement and you say that was amazing, but it's, but already as soon as it's done, it's in the rearview mirror. And I think that oppa moment, that one thing that turned out to be the best thing, is that there's never been any level of complacency, and there's always to push and be comfortable with being completely out of my comfort zone. So if I could say that one thing that turned out to be the best thing, if I could go right back to the beginning, is just those moments, and that's why there's multiple. There wasn't one thing, but I think back to even that small gesture of seeing an opportunity and saying, I'm going to put my hat in the ring for that, because that sounds incredible. Much to the same way of just showing up and doing this. It was really hard to do. I've gotten a bit more comfortable now as I keep speaking, but like earlier, did you see I had a little freak out moment? Like, oh my God, I'm talking, I'm recording, and I'm thinking in my head, am I actually going to publish this? I will. But that's the thing. My oppa moment that I've had and turned out to be the best thing is to just keep seeking opportunities and saying yes. And even when my back's been up against the wall, knowing that every time I have that feeling like I've had today, since the moment that I've woken up, and it's taken me still about 8 hours since then, that every time I have that moment, that's what I aim to achieve at least once a day. Do something uncomfortable that is pushing yourself, again, to do better today than what you did yesterday. So that's my aha moment. A whole lot of collection of oppa moments. I've started to say oppa moments in my trainings in the last couple of years, because aha, it's an Oprah thing. And I know, I mean, that's another thing. I just like, I've grown up admiring Oprah so much, but that's her jam. But I'm saying, what's something else I could use that's a Despina thing? I thought oppa moment. My aha is my oppa moment. It's when that excitability, and that word gefi in Greek, where you smash plates and you drink and you dance on tables. That's my one thing. This collection of moments that every time I said yes and I put myself into a situation that was really scary and uncomfortable, whether it's putting in a paper for the Lynette Bergen Fellowship as a young tourism in my early days of my career, and having my colleagues say, that's a crazy idea. Why don't you do something else? Well, I'm not going to do something else because I really feel this. This is what the research I would love to study. Lo and behold, where passion and purposeful work, I was awarded that fellowship that took me to Tuscany and took me to Cappadocia. the most amazing ballooning locations, gave me the opportunity to speak for the first time in front of all the CEOs and all the heads of our tourism industry at the time. Talk about, like, it's, yeah, I'm not going to go and be gross, but put it this way, nothing would stay down. Nothing would stay down. That's how heavy the nerves were. They, moments like that, saying like someone planting the seed, you should write it. It's your 10 years at Global. You should write a book about that. As if I don't have a book in me. Then go, oh my God, 10 years. It's been a lifetime of learnings, that oppa moment. Then just say yes. How am I going to write a book? What am I going to do? I look back on that now. I say, I had 3 kids under 4 years old, and I went and wrote a book. Like Despina now would say, oh my God, Despina, what were you doing? But again, push, yes, work out how. I'm not going to see anymore, but that's what that journey has been like. And I aspire, I will be dead. I'll be dead inside and outside if I don't continue with that type, showing up every day with that type of mindset, or mind to set. That was on my listening and my running today. Your mindset is your mind to set the right way to do what you need to do. Okay. Again, weird. This is one way I'm talking to myself. I hope you are finding some value in this little walk with Despina. So in the excellence round, which I normally take my guests through, in the beginning of launching my business, what was holding you back? Everything was holding me back. Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I financially able to generate an income because I have a mortgage and I've got 3 young children relying on me and a husband relying on me? Can I do this? What was holding me back is a complete standstill of like real of self-doubt that this is not, all of those things that I've just described. And that type, can I handle that type of pressure? And mind you, all the way leading up to that first day of my business, 1st of July, 2014, there's just a feeling you'll never forget. So in the beginning of launching my business, now I'd say probably 2 to 3 years before that, it's something I always wanted to do. It was a burning desire. I want to work for myself. I want to do good work and put good work out there. I would go, the amount of money I invested in my self-development, personal development, professional development, in the seminars, in the webinars, in the like thousands. I'm not talking hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. But I think even that was a means to stop from doing the actual thing. It's like, I've got to learn more. I've got to learn more. I've got to learn more. It's all in the doing. I could have done this even today, like, oh, I wonder if podcasting's changed. What's new in podcasting? Because, I started it so long ago. Like I found myself doing that a few weeks ago. Stop. So in the beginning, what was holding my back? Total it wasn't even self-doubt. It was self-sabotage. It was kicking my own ass of how crap emoji I was. Terrible. Is that right? Like, you do. I have to catch myself out, just stop that. You would never speak like that to anyone. Whew, what you do to yourself. The best advice you've ever received. I think there's just so much good advice out there. And speaking of all those seminars, I remember going to one where, like, Donald Trump, the entrepreneur, it was well before we even thought he had I was going to say prime minister. We ever thought he had a president in him. It was something he said that, he's like, guys, this business world, it ain't for everybody. For some of you in the audience, just got to speak truth that you can't handle it. You can't handle the pressure of business. Stay in your job. feed your families. This is literally. So that was some very solid advice too. That also went, oh, that also threw a spanner in my works. Like, the Trumpster, he's right. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. But what would always keep me up at night? I don't want to be 6 feet under, never knowing if I could, right? So that's leads me to that best advice. Regret is something that has always propelled me forward. I don't want to regret anything or have as few regrets as I can possibly control, so that you'll regret more of what you do than what you didn't do. That's what's got me running marathons, like literally, my people, whoever's listening. I went and ran a marathon. I've actually ran three marathons since the last time we spoke, which is the whole other journey, to run a marathon from someone that's grown up, not even like, I used to write and forge my parents' signature to get out of sport, especially cross country growing up. I'll put it in, like, here's my imaginary notepad. I'll write it for another episode. But that's what, even doing that, I'll question my can'ts. When I say to myself, I can't, I am my own, who says? Prove it. So, best advice, regret more what I do than what I don't do. And then I'll go, well, no regrets. I've given it a go. I've proven to myself I can or I can't. And we move on. So that was, and that's also went to just, starting my business. I would rather fail than sit back and watch everyone else start a business and not have my own. And it's life-changing lessons. And the life-changing lessons are when your face is in the freaking mud and you're just like, you feel like you're covered in poo emoji, and you feel like you are poo emoji, and you're feeling just, yeah. Anyway, they're the best lessons, but you come through it. And that's another best advice. Like, so I'm the daughter of two migrant parents who have grown up in a non-English speaking household. My mother, who could never help me with my homework, could never understand what I'm doing with my career or with my choices in subjects. Like, now I'm helping my children choose subjects and their trajectory. Like, that's just something I didn't grow up with. I'm not putting out the violin music, but some great advice. My mother, even though she would say, I can't help you, but the simple words, you'll be fine. That's it. She always, she will see that I'm at I need to make decisions. She'll say, I can't help you. I know you'll be fine. She will always just embed that in, just trust. I trust you. I trust you'll make the right decision and you'll be fine. So that's something that I really I've grown up with. I hope you're still with me. A personal habit that contributes to my success is no alcohol. I stopped alcohol almost 10 years ago. Boom. I'm not going to bang on about it, but I feel great. And as a trainer delivering information, I never have ever, whether it's a weekend or a weekday, a foggy, headachy head on my shoulder. I love being clear and on. And so what contributes to my success as a habit is living a full sober, full plant-based, and really committed to a healthy lifestyle. So for the person that used to forge her own PE notes all of my high school life, is what contributes to my success is my newfound love of running and physical activity. I can't live without it. I know myself, when I miss that in a day, and I'm coming out of a funk. Like last year, 2023 was funky time. Talk about, there was a lot of traveling and a lot of, like, the last thing on my list was looking after the things that help me thrive, the exercise and eating right. And I'm what exactly 52 days into my 75 hard challenge. And I just want to get back to center. I just want to do it quickly. And I knew I needed a program to get me into gear. I love it. So that's what my personal habits that contribute to my success is health. There's a saying, right? Health is wealth. Ain't that truer? And coming of an age where I've lost loved ones, and I hear of loved ones, it's just something, I want to maintain healthy and for my family to be healthy so we can be around to enjoy each other as love and each other's company and serve for as long as we possibly can. An internet resource that helps me. Well, I'm digging. I love all the serve me up the AI. I'm loving being self-sufficient. So I'm finding tools in my toolbox that are helping me be better and not relying as much as a solo operator in my training business, in my development, in the content creation. I'm just really going back to center, and loving the tools that are around at the moment. So things like Chat GPT, yes, I still use Trello for my project management. And I must say, they've been my tools, but I'm also at the moment in this zone of experimentation so that I can see how I can create systems. So outside of tools, I am at the moment just really trialing different internet resources and tools that will help me systemize my day better to leverage and maximize my productivity and output, and serve everybody that comes into my world. Serve them better. What book would I recommend to Tourism Hub and why? Look, some books that I refer to as kind of those, particularly for the beginning. I think of books like E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I think of books like Everybody Writes for my content creation by Anne Handley. Those books were real game-changing for me in the early days that I keep going back to and referencing. Then there's the classics, From Good to Great, 7 Habits from Highly Effective People. Those are the books that I still will pluck out and just read when I just need some reignition. Sometimes they're the classics that I have on my bookshelf and that I can still turn to and get a valuable insight. Eat the Frog. I still refer to that book and think about that on the daily. What's my frog of the day? What's the hardest thing that I can do now, have my win, and then carry on to the other stuff? So there are some books that I would highly recommend if you want to get some reading under your belt. My absolute favorite holiday destination that I will recommend, take me to Greece every single year and I will be happy. Now, that's where my roots are embedded. That's where my grandmother and my family, and I feel like as someone whose parents left their country for a better life and grateful for them having doing that. That's just like this beautiful country of ours that we call home, and I'm raising my own children. I just haven't explored. There's so much more to explore. It's the same for Greece. I only have explored the villages of where my family is from, which I wish I could turn into destinations and have you visit. There's just some experiences that you can have in Greece that are so dear to me. But I haven't seen much of it. I've seen the main city, but that's certainly on the bucket list, just as is, doing more of Australia. But favorite holiday is Greece. But there are so many, right? There are so many. And as a favorite travel experience, If there's ballooning anywhere that I travel, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Like, I am a diehard balloon girl, and I wrote a book about it. I still, yeah, it's something that is just, it's in my DNA now. I can't go without seeing a region or a destination from an aerial, get an aerial perspective, but not just an aerial, with the experience and the sensation of doing that in a hot air balloon is just magic. So that is my favorite thing to do. And if it's available anywhere that I travel to, you know, that's one of those, shut up and take my money. I'm going ballooning in the morning. Family, are you into it or you're not? I'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning any day to go on a balloon flight. So to best connect with me, my people, it's there. Like, this is on the socials. It's Despina Carazius, hello at Institute of Excellence, the place and the home of Institute of Tourism and Institute of Small Business. The podcast company that brings you the Tourism Hub podcast is where you can find me. You can also find me on the socials at Despina Karatzias or at Institute of Excellence HQ on the gram. So my parting piece of guidance or favorite quote for you, my fellow experience makers, I just recorded a customer service training, and no matter what, whether I am responsible to manage a team of people, to deliver a training to a group of small businesses, this right here, the best quote and the parting piece of guidance, Oprah's elder, Maya Angelou, and it's, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Whether it's to service the visitor, service your family, service your neighbor, service your teams, service your colleagues. You don't need to be a manager to be mindful of how you're making people feel. And when, yeah, that's just something that served me, and something that I show up in the day, that regardless of what your feels are, Despina, you don't want this impacting others around you. So put it to bed, put it aside, deal with you later. How is this impacting those around you? That's really served me well. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. I thank you. I've got so many wonderful interviews with great people to share with you. I'm going to do the please hit subscribe so you don't miss out. Wherever you're watching this, on YouTube, or you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or Google Play, hit the follow button and get to know some wonderful humans of tourism on this new chapter and this new journey of Tourism Hub, the podcast. Big, huge love to you for joining me on this journey. If you have a great story, or you know of someone that deserves a platform to share their story, please get in touch and connect with me. But until next time, my friends, this is Despina Carazius from the Institute of Excellence, home of Institute of Tourism and the Institute of Small Business, the School of Small and Tourism Business Greatness. Big love to everyone, and here's to your excellence today and every single day. Bye.
Relax.